How about the outlaws?
Okay, Dad.
We're at 20 Old Ridge Road today, and the Scurato family and their spouses will be sharing their earliest memories of South Brunswick with us. And the first couple are Theresa Scurato and Blase Scurato. The rest of the family will chime in when Blase is finished. So be ready.
Pop first came to this country in 1901, but then he went back to Italy for a little while, and then he came back May of 1911. And he went to Trenton. That's where they stayed at first. They had a brother there. Then Mom came December 1911, and she also was in Trenton. And Pop worked for the city in Trenton for a while before he moved out here. They were married in Trenton at St. Joachim's Church by Reverend Griffin, who later became a bishop. And they were married June 18th, 1916. The oldest brother, Sal, was born in Trenton. And I'm not sure about Tony, whether he was born in Trenton or out here. But they moved out here in about 1917 or 1918 in that area. And they first rented a couple of rooms over at Marbito's home, which is now Polino. And then they, 1920, they started a mortgage on the house that we lived in, which is just across the street. And Pop started working on a railroad in 1919. And in 1954, he retired from the railroad.
Wow.
But they used to walk to work. And during the Depression, I guess sometimes they only worked 3 days a week. They don't work every day. And they used to walk about 2 miles. He used to work for, his foreman was Alex Scutchuk. And he used to walk up past the Midway Tower up here, if you know what that is.
The old tool shed up there.
Yeah. He walked up and past there, and that's where they used to go to work.
That's where all the whistles blow.
Yeah. Right. And the only thing I can remember the train station when it was a real train station there. I used to say, when I was small, I thought it was big.
It was a very nice one.
And it was a nice station, right? They had upstairs rooms and everything up there. And
you often wondered what the upstairs rooms were, because you look at all the old stations, they had upstairs rooms.
Yeah.
I often wondered.
Well,
what
they had meetings up there. I don't know, it was the Odd Fellows Club or one of them. Because the Mechanics Hall, that was somebody else. They had meetings in there.
That was a lodge.
Yeah, the lodge there.
Men's lodge.
Right. And I remember they used to have put on shows there.
And
I can remember going to a couple of shows there.
And graduations.
And
graduations from high
graduations
school
too.
were all there. Yeah.
Louis, did you graduate from?
Yeah.
So did Mackey?
Yes.
Yeah.
I graduated
Yeah.
from Monmouth Junction School.
Tony?
Also.
No. And you graduated from?
Well, let's see. What was that, the Grange? At that time, they called it the Grange.
No, it wasn't a
No.
Grange, it was
Yeah.
Mechanics Hall.
Well, yeah, but...
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Mechanics
It was
Hall.
never
There
the
was a lodge
Grange, it was a
upstairs.
lodge.
Yeah, it was a
I
lodge.
remember
I
Mechanics
believe
Hall.
it burned in the 50s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what burned down.
That's right.
And now, Theresa, do you want to give us a background on your family? Because you lived in, were you born in this home?
No, I was born in New Brunswick. My mother and father were married in Hungary in 1912, I think it is. I think, I'm not positive about that, but I think that's right. And I don't know when my father first came to this country. My father came and he was here for a year or so. Then he went back to Hungary to see if my mother would come. My mother refused to come. And then he came here, and then the next thing you know, the war broke out. So my sister, War One. My sister Barbara and Mary was the oldest. They were born in Hungary. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Barbara was 8 and Mary was 10 or 12, somewhere in between there. And then there's a long span of time before. And when she did finally able to come, well, then she had like another second family, all of us, Frankie, Margaret, Johnny, myself, and Ella. The 5 of us was all born, like, I guess there's maybe about 18, 19 years between Barbara and us. And when my father first came to this country, he went to West Virginia, worked in the coal mines out there, and also in Youngstown, Pennsylvania. And I don't know, date-wise, I don't know exactly when he moved to Plainsboro. When my mother finally came to this country, they lived in Plainsboro, and I don't know if you know, well, you remember Walker Gordon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, just before you get there, you go through the back, there's like these 3 old bungalows. They're nice little homes now, but they had 3 bungalows there, and my mother lived there, and then her good friend that lived next door we always called her Aunt Katie, and I have to bring her into this because she helped us out a great deal. And after there, they moved to New Brunswick, and that's where I was born, and that's where Ella was born. The rest of them were born in Plainsboro.
I wish I asked my question before you gave us that you were born there.
Yeah.
What period of time was that?
Well, I was born in 1929,
Okay.
and that was in New Brunswick on, what's the name of the street?
High Street?
No,
Or the one in
Lois.
front of it?
I can't think of it.
It's okay.
Just around the corner from High Street.
Okay.
And Ella was born right across the road, right across the street. We were both born in New Brunswick. I was 8 years old when we moved to here. But first we moved in Deans. I don't remember if you remember the Pennsylvania Railroad house and where Petrofess's kids live now along the railroad tracks.
I know it now. I didn't know
Oldies
it as a
Farm
kid.
Lane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we lived there for a short while, and then we lived in next to where the Werner's feed
Feedmore.
barn was, you know. We lived there for I don't know how long. I know I started kindergarten there.
At Dean School?
But I have to tell everybody, didn't know a word of English when we went to school. These people that want special classes just because they come to this country, that they have to be specially educated. I went to school. I learned English. I had to learn it. Nobody helped us. My mother and father didn't speak English. And like I say, it aggravates me.
It can
It's
be
on tape
done.
by now. It can be done. I mean, it doesn't have to be special education. Today they have television, they got the newspapers, they got everything you can think of. But this is the one thing that I get really hot about. Because they didn't know a word of English when they went to school,
Right.
did you? Just were all Italians, they
They're
all
the
know.
older ones, and then
Italians.
we learned
Yeah.
from the older ones.
So it's,
Who speak English.
right.
Well, Tony's mom, Tony's aunt, really, she told us that after World War I, when they would go to school, the kids would throw rocks at them because they were Germans.
Yeah.
So, you know, all that racial business went back
Way,
then.
way back ago.
That's right, we had a lot of that.
Those
Yeah.
were the days.
I don't think you'll ever really get over
Well,
that kind of
hopefully
thing.
they will.
We hope so, but I don't know. Well, anyway, so then we moved here, and we were here, I was 8 years old when we moved here.
So what was Monmouth Junction School like then?
Yeah, we walked.
We walked over Pennsylvania Railroad, which was a very
Busy at that
busy
time.
railroad.
Mhm.
And did you come home for lunch?
No.
Did you, Blaze?
No, we backed lunch.
We had to go home.
did.
We went home.
Yeah.
We went home.
We had
The
to
only
go
time-
home.
The only
We used to
time
run
we
home.
didn't go home was if it was raining real hard or something,
Right.
and Mom would say, go to the post office and buy a box of crackers.
You need
Yeah.
crackers.
But, because Lester's
You
had,
needed biscuits.
you needed biscuits in a
crackers,
small
yeah.
box.
Uh-huh.
And that's what we would have for lunch that day. It was like a nickel a box.
Yeah, that was a big box.
Exactly. Nickel box.
So Teresa, what do you remember about Monmouth Junction School?
Well, some nice treats. you know, like the hard candy. They would bring in these pails of frost coming out, and they had this hard packed sandwich of ice cream in there. Then we had the chocolate bar and the orange. I always look forward to that.
Now, do you remember any of your teachers?
Yeah, the Miss Michon, especially this one person here in this picture, which I thought was a Santowasso. The reason why I say that is because every afternoon she would send me up to the street there where the railroad crossing where Santowasso lived. She said, open the door and a pint of milk would be there for the teacher's lunch.
You have a,
And then in the corner of that room, this empty room, there's this parrot in the cage. And that always is a big
Right.
parrot. Now, I don't know if you
That was his
recall the parrot.
The parrot, I think, died before I was born, because my grandfather died before I was
That was
born.
at the bar, too.
So then your great-grandmother probably come out because after a number of times I've been there, the parrot would get so excited that they don't let me go up there anymore because the parrot made so much noise, you know. But it was a big parrot.
I remember that part.
Do you remember the parrot? Louis said he remembered
Yeah, it was
it.
at
In the bar,
At
they
the
had it
bar.
mostly.
At the
We could
bar.
see it when we went for soda and stuff over there. You could see it in there. You'd be
Yeah,
walking.
so every day I
It
would
was
go up
big,
there for her lunch, for her milk pail,
Yeah.
for the teacher. That's why I was figuring this person in this picture here
Well,
is
maybe,
a relative of Tony Santowasso here.
maybe Tony's mom would know.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she might know.
What teacher did you get it for, though? I don't.
For Santowasso person.
Yes.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
because that's where I got the milk.
Yeah.
It was
Maybe a relative, Butch.
It might be, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's in a metal container, a whole
Yeah.
pint. She had it for lunch every day.
So that was your best memory of school, that Christmas
Well,
treat?
no, I got lots of negative memories,
How
lots of
about
positive.
how about the
positive.
patrol? You're not patrol.
Yeah, well, that was much later.
Well,
Stand on the corner even though no one was going by.
Yeah.
And I think at one time they had to come tell me that school is out, you better go home. So I go, okay, what did I know, you know, I was just a kid.
Yeah,
That was
we
a
didn't have
beautiful area over there where was it not Pierson's on that side,
Yes.
the big house.
Weavers.
The
No,
big,
Lois.
on the left-hand side there. Is that Michon's there too? Was that?
Michon's
With the
room.
big
No,
lawn?
Michon's is down on the end here.
Oh, yes, yeah, that was the
Yeah,
still.
that's
It was,
beautiful
you're,
lawn.
next to Stouts you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was the,
that's a beautiful house, but look what they did to it. They,
well, Michon, I think Mrs. Emens was a Michon.
Yes.
So-
beautiful
so-
green lawn, and we stand there
Yeah,
on
they were
near the
her
picket
parents.
fence, you know,
Yeah.
I
watch
remember.
nothing going
They
by.
had such a big, I'm sorry.
I would see Lester, the post office man,
Mhm.
carrying this big pack of mail all the time we go by. I guess he was part Indian, right?
That's
Didn't
right.
they say?
That's what they said.
Yeah, that's what Tom
Yeah.
said.
Yeah,
And he
I
goes
realize that.
slopping on down there with his slippers.
Yeah.
Well, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, a lot of negative stuff, I won't talk about that.
No, we don't. Did you have Mrs. Weaver?
Yeah,
Everybody.
just free.
Right.
And then Mr. Pearson,
Right.
now Pierson, remember
Well, she
Pearson?
didn't have right.
He kept me back one year because I had problem with my eyes and I was losing a lot of schoolwork. So I had to get glasses first and repeat that class again. But it was worth it.
Yes. They waited a little too long to do that, right?
Yeah,
Find that out.
yeah. Today it's right away.
That's right.
Either rink.
Give him that advantage.
No.
Yeah. So they'll never get lost though. I mean, we had gotten lost. Norma Ritter and
Mrs.
myself.
Landis.
We went to
Yeah.
this
Yaris at the time.
stone quarry now on New Road back in there. It was really pretty.
Switch Gables used to live
Switch
Yeah.
Gables, which is
Oh,
now
right.
Whispering Woods.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Roaring
Norma
Rocks.
Ritter and I got lost one day. And we were in the woods one, and we finally got back to the school. And we were reprimanded for getting lost. They just send the helicopters or the hound dogs around. If nobody came to get you, that's it.
You just found your way.
But I got home all right.
And Route 1 wasn't built at that time, right?
Oh,
That was
no,
almost
no,
there.
that-
Probably in the 30s.
yeah, it was
Oh,
very
okay.
early.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm 74 now, so,
Uh-huh.
you know, that's 1923 I was born.
Yeah. Yeah, so Route 1 wasn't there at that time, I guess.
I believe so.
It-
Probably.
early 30s, I think
It
they
might
started.
have been just a smaller road.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was, and then they
Two
built it.
lanes probably or something.
Because I remember going on like a field trip, we would walk from the
from the school all the way to Route 1. That was our field trip and back. And I remember across the street where New Road and 1 met, there was like a store. It wasn't a gas station or anything there. It was
Right.
old-
You could buy, almost like Emens' store, in a way. It had like
Yeah,
her-
You're talking about Miller's?
No, not Miller.
No, Miller came in later. That's on this side,
all the
later.
way on the Miller's.
Miller's
No,
on
that
this side.
Miller's come much later.
Yeah,
Yeah,
much
much
later.
later.
Came in the 40s.
But I remember across the way there,
Yeah.
and
it
the
was-
kids from that store come to the Junction School. I can't remember the names.
Yeah, that
Is
was
it?
fine.
Is that the one they had a tool factory here just a few years, like about 10 or 15 years ago? They made a tool factory, and before that it was
Oh,
like
that
Mitch
was
Vending.
Miller's.
No,
Oh, that was
this-
Miller. Okay, that was
no,
Miller.
that's on this side,
This
by the
was
way.
on the corner where the gas station is now.
Oh, okay. Okay, I was across the street then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Now, any other
Well, there
memories
was
of-
Exxon there at the time. Smith, I think his name was, used to run the gas station there. He had Exxon over there
Oh,
on that side.
I don't know.
Well, I don't recall that.
Oh, Smitty's on the highway?
Yeah, yeah, right.
Smitty.
That, it was Smith,
I
yeah.
used to deliver
Smitty.
orders there, Smitty, yeah.
It was an Exxon station,
Right on the corner.
and he had a little.
Yeah, he had a
store
lunch
too.
net and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
right.
Standard Oil then.
Yeah,
Well,
Smitty.
yeah, it was Esso, wasn't it? Esso?
I really
Yeah,
don't know.
Esso
Standard
first.
Oil.
Yeah.
Smitty, yeah.
anything about school time that you want to share?
Well, the thing about things that I remember mostly, and some were negative, some were positive, and one of the negatives was all the hobos back in our day.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the mid-30s, starting from the mid-30s, well on
Used
into
to run across the street.
1940, 41, you would see the freight trains would come, and usually they would have to stop here because of traffic problem. They would have a
Switches.
signal, right? And the hobos, once that train stopped, they would unload and they would hit all the houses around. They'd come to this
Right.
house, our house over there,
Right.
Nancy's,
They had to store it,
Forces,
too.
Yeah.
and yeah,
Oh,
they
yeah.
would come begging either for water
Right.
or for coffee or bread or whatever you could
And
possibly give
Mama
them.
would always say, I only have coffee and bread, that's all we have.
Yeah.
And she
They
always
got
got something,
something.
they were always
Yeah.
appreciative of it
We
too.
had them too.
Yeah.
So that was maybe the From the other negative side. part,
Right.
because Mom would always tell us if the hobos ever got near you, run away from them.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of
Run,
bums
don't
too.
walk.
There's a difference between the hobos and the bums. Because
Right.
the
Yeah.
bums wouldn't be riding the freights, but the hobos,
Hobos.
sometimes, especially as winter approached, in these box cars, there would be like 20, 30 of them in one box car. And you can imagine when a freight train of 50, 60 cars went through, how many hobos were heading south.
Yeah.
Back in the 30s, there were a lot of hobos.
Well, that's because they were looking for jobs. Some
Yeah.
were veterans of World War One. I don't know if you remember, but this one hobo came over and he was showing us he still had bullets in his legs there. You could feel them. He showed us them.
There were a lot of them who were veterans looking for jobs all over the country.
Yeah.
That's why they were moving around. That's like the railroad siding that was right here on the
We used to
bank
have
here.
siding right here.
Right.
Well, I can remember boxcars parked on that, and
Yeah.
right like in our backyard, you might say,
Right.
because the lot that our house set on was only like 50 by 100. We were a small lot, and we were right up against
Right up
the
against the
railroad
railroad track.
bank for the siding. And I can remember those boxcars, and I always dreamt about them, that hobos would be in them. So
Yeah.
stayed away from them. That was really the negative thing.
I remember when the trains used to go to Atlantic City on that.
Yeah, well, see, that I don't remember.
Down the
Down,
shore,
going
right.
to the shore, when they came
That's
back, they
very
used to
far.
throw the salt water tappets out. We used to
Oh,
go get
yeah.
work.
Hey, you guys didn't
Yeah.
bring the reservoir up yet.
Yeah, well, let's get there. Well,
Skinny dippers out.
The only difference between a hobo and a bum is a hobo will work for his eats, whereas a bum won't. He'll just beg for the food and not work for it. Whereas a hobo, if they had a little errand for him to do around the house, he would do it for you.
we really
We
never
had
had
the
any
same
problems
thing.
with the hobos,
No,
as far as we
no.
know.
We had
they
the
were
same
okay.
thing on the 27 highway where we lived. The hobos would always come in. They would always take the most dilapidated place and walk into that because you never get
Get
anything
anything.
from the people.
My mother used to say they marked the houses. She
Yeah,
Yes.
on the poles there, they used to mark it. Yeah,
Oh, that's so good.
yeah, because then the next one came along, he saw the mark. That's right.
As far as the reservoir goes, well, I think we all learned to swim in the reservoir.
Oh, yeah.
And actually, the reservoir was water that was a big storage area for water that was being pumped into the water towers along the tracks. And there was a tower right close to the railroad
Yeah, right
station
across from the
where
reservoir.
trains could load up with water. And then the other tower was down by Noble's
Mm-hmm.
on the side from off of the main part of the railroad track. And I remember Donald and some of the older kids talking about that they would climb up into that tank and swim in the tank.
Wow.
They would actually swim in the tank in this big,
Right.
so,
And the only time they got out was when the freight come to load up. They had to get out because they get stuck right in.
yeah.
The girls are off limit over there.
That's
None of
right.
the girls
Yeah,
can
no,
go
it's only
there.
Right,
the
that's
whole
correct.
town.
No
Lock
one
us
went
in the
through.
house and say, don't you dare go out there.
Yeah. No little girls came around to watch.
Yeah,
Not
that was the
women's time.
times.
I'll tell you one of the things about the reservoir that I remember was Martin Bachstein. I don't know if anybody remembers.
That's a good
Martin
story.
Bachstein, his parents owned what is now, used to be the Clay Pot and now is the Burger King. Well, it was at,
They had a bar.
Bachstein's had a bar there.
Mhm.
So Martin Bachstein was always the guy that liked to run away from home.
Yeah.
And I remember him coming down, because him and Joe were friends.
Yeah.
And Joe wasn't around, so it was, I think it was
I
Louis
was,
and I and Johnny
Never
Noble.
forget it.
We decided to go swimming in the reservoir. And Martin Bachstein went swimming too with us. And he dove in one time, and he never come up.
True.
And it scared the daylight. We didn't know what to do. In fact, we were getting ready to run and tell Jack Ritter, because he's
Ticket agent.
He
He's
was
the
a
big
ticket
wheel
agent.
over there, yeah.
And now, either Martin Bachstein, there was some bushes along the reservoir that grew out into the
Over the water.
over the water.
Water.
He may have come and surfaced. That's the only thing we figured out later. And that was much later.
Yeah.
That he swam underneath that and come up and surfaced and hung on to the sides. But to this day, I still don't know. I just thought he was gone.
That was deep, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was out in the middle. He
You
went
thought
down.
the snakes got him,
Yeah,
huh?
he was a weird sort of guy, I tell you. I don't know how many people remember also the Hindenburg flying
Oh, yeah.
over.
They used to come right
Yeah,
across here.
right.
Right
We were
across here.
let out from school one time a few minutes early because they knew Hindenburg was coming from the New York area, heading towards Trenton in order to go to Lakehurst.
Would it follow railroad tracks or?
Yeah, it followed the railroad
Yeah.
tracks. It followed
The
the railroad
airplanes
tracks.
used
And
to follow railroad tracks.
I remember being let out early. We went and I got to about where the reservoir is, and here, sure enough, the Hindenburg's flying from this direction, heading towards Trenton. And that was one of the awesome sights you would ever see. I don't know, Kate, did you ever
I just
see
remember
that?
when it burned.
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
remember
yeah.
seeing it.
Oh,
I've
I've
seen it a
seen it.
couple
It was like 3 times the size of any dirigible or Zeppelin that you ever seen before.
Yeah,
At least 3
Hindenburg was a
times,
big
maybe more, in length and in diameter. It was tremendous.
And you can see those lines hanging down, you know, that they had.
Yeah.
It was
So-
really, you look up there, you get all excited watching this big dirigible going down.
And maybe Al can tell us when the store opened, because people don't know that. They've asked when Kish's store opened.
Well, first of all, I'm too old to remember anything.
I don't believe that, Al.
Well, let me see now. I was 12 years old when we moved out here. It was an old house, a real old house. With an old car in the yard. And I think Camaro's owned it, Charlie's father, I think. And he was selling, you know, it was a camp across the street, the railroad camp, you know, where they would come over and buy stuff from, you know, I mean, whiskey or whatever, I don't know. And that's when they start working on the house, and another fella, and they tore the house down and put the store up. And that's, I was 12 years old, and about, I don't know what that would be. Oh, let's see, 12, and let's see, that's 12 or 17 when I left the store. Let's see, I don't really remember exactly, but anyway, they got the store up, and then we were the first ones there, I think, so fresh meat, you know.
In the 30s, Al?
It was in the 30-something, yeah. Mostly 37.
So I just relate Al to my brothers. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. And my father and them, they built a big refrigerator, not a refrigerator, big ice box, you know. My father used to carry ice on his back and go all the way up and up, carry it up. And then about when I was 17, my father died. He was...
we'll come back to Al. Louis, you want to?
Don't really.
But where did you shop before Kish's came?
Okay, yeah, that's good. Emens' store. I
Emens'
think
store.
everybody, either Emens' store or Pierson's, but we always went to Emens'. Always. It was always bulk, dry beans and different things. It was really great.
But
They had everything.
Kish's-
Kish's wasn't there at the time.
Kish's had to bring in the fresh meat.
Yeah, they come in with the
First
fresh
with
meat
the
after,
fresh
that's
meat.
right. Before Kish's though, I remember going around the Y many a times to go there and pick up a piece of candy too once in a while. They had candy there, and comic books. And he had everything. If you needed goulashes and stuff,
Boots.
he had everything. Vinegar by the barrels.
Pickles,
Pickles. I don't know
Salt
about
marks.
pickles, but
Yeah.
a lot of,
Yeah.
pickles too.
salt mackerel.
Yeah, everything he had. That was really some store. Too bad we didn't have pictures of that.
Well, Emens give everybody credit too.
Yeah,
He always
right.
had
He had
a
a
store
book.
book.
Right.
He
I
always
think everybody had a
store
book. You always sold them, but they were always
Because
good
they owned
to us.
our house.
They owned
because-
our
Yeah, they owned
Yeah.
that house.
Yeah.
Right?
And they waited for payday.
Years and
Yeah,
years,
yeah, whatever you brought. If you brought $10, he just marked it down, he'd tear that thing
Yeah,
out,
they
put
were
it in
very
his
good
office.
people.
I think
also-
Not even more.
Kish's can, I think,
We
did that.
also had Emens owned our house.
Did
Oh.
they?
Emens, yeah.
Oh, really?
We paid Emens, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh.
I'm sorry what happened.
Oh,
That's
no, it's
okay,
understandable, yeah.
Very bad.
But Emens, yeah, then we paid him off. And then when he died, I had to quit school. And then I took over with my mother and my brother.
Best football player in Princeton High School.
Yeah.
That's what my brother said.
Who's that? Oh, he went
Now.
to Princeton now? Okay, I see, I didn't know that.
Him and Jaime.
And the best
Okay.
center fielder
Oh,
that
Sal
Monmouth
went
Junction
one year
ever
too, I
had.
think.
He went to New Brunswick.
Brunswick?
He
And
went
then
to New Brunswick.
Donald
baseball,
went to
remember the
Brunswick.
baseball
Right.
games?
Yeah, all baseball games.
I
They were all-
cannot find a
I think
Center
picture.
fielder.
Right, and he
Yeah.
could hit the ball.
Yeah.
I can't find a picture anywhere of that team, the Piersons
Well, you know,
and Al and
Nebraska.
Was that right?
and Sterling George.
Sturrow,
Yeah.
yeah, Sturrow was a
And
cat.
Dick,
Bundle.
and Dick Marcy and Hank Bundle
Look
and
at that thing.
Smitty and.
Yeah, that's why I couldn't
Yeah.
say.
I don't care.
And Jip was, before.
I have after the
before I
war when
remember Jip.
Milltown people
Yeah, I
used to
remember
play. I
seeing
don't
Jip
want those
down
pictures,
by
I
the
want the
river.
old pictures.
Do you have when the Monmouth Junction Fire Department had the ball team, the little card?
At the Cranberry Inn, they
You
had,
have that?
I don't know, I'm not sure.
We have it at home, I should have brought it. All the
Okay.
ball players were there, all the guys that donated money, you know. We should have brought it down.
that was at that special dinner at the Cranberry Inn. They had a
Yeah,
whole get
with your
together.
brothers and all of us. We had, Jip Wallington was running it. I mean, if it's all right, we'll bring it,
Yes.
you know, if
Okay.
that helps, I don't know.
Sure, but I can almost name the team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
Yeah.
and they're just not around. I
No.
often like Bob Emens, and those people, there's just no pictures.
Well, we looked at it, and there's not too many left of it. Jimmy Courtney's there.
Well, they're after
They were
the
a little
war.
later.
Yeah, later.
Because
Yeah.
Art Santowasso was the catcher before Sturrow.
Oh, yeah, Art and
Art
Tony.
Santowasso.
And
Tony, yeah, they're
Yeah.
all over there.
Yeah.
My dad was the catcher before that.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, how about
Joe,
that?
Joe Messina.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, your dad, he worked on our chicken coop years ago. He put the floor in it. Yeah, that was years ago, I remember that. Yeah.
All right, Al, if you went to Princeton to school.
By bus, yeah, we had to catch it up by the firehouse.
And when you played ball, Al, how did you get home?
Walk, hike.
Yes.
Absolutely, that's what McGovern's told us. They remember my brother's walk.
Smitty used to work, Smitty, and there's Bob Herman from, well, he's not around anymore.
Kingston.
Bob from
He was
Kingston.
a police officer, no.
Yeah,
Right, Bob
he's-
Herman, you know
yeah,
Bob.
right, he died about 10 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, you know, he used to kick that football, I'm telling you. I was in service with Bob, you know.
Were you?
Oh, yeah. I was in service. We was an outfit to get together. I think I got his pictures home someplace. I'm not sure. And then when I was older and went to England, I met this kid there. He's about, well, I don't know if you should bring it up or not.
Sure.
Sure, go ahead.
I got a letter here from the kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm serious.
Yeah.
But see, when we went to England, we was stationed in Criselli. And his home was right across the, not too far. I met the little kid. He was about 7 or 8. And I used to go over there. I met the family. They used to dig potatoes. I mean, plant potatoes. The letter says that. Anybody can read it if they want. It's very good. So what happens, 50 years later, some of my friends went back to Criselli to, you know, like a reunion. And this kid knew that, well, he's a man then. He knew that the outfit was there, and he inquired about me, and they knew who I was. So he wrote me a letter. I was surprised to get the letter. And it tells you everything when he was a kid and planted potatoes, and now he's into the, I don't have glasses, so I can't read it.
His mother used to wash her clothes.
Yeah,
and he
right.
used to dig the garden for
Right,
them and
right.
plant stuff for them.
Oh, that's
Right.
hard print.
Right. Yeah, well, it's good. It's
Go
fine
on,
print, but he's in it. I think he's in TV now and stuff like that,
Yeah,
you know?
and the BBC.
BBC and all that, so, you know, I was surprised to get it. That's
Okay.
50, 60 years ago, and
Yeah.
then after
Send
that,
pictures.
we got captured, and that was it. Battle of the Bulge, you know, and stuff like that. And, well, I don't know if you want to hear this or not.
Yes,
Tell us.
yes.
Battle of the Bulge,
Yes.
well, I had frozen feet. I went to the hospital. I came back. And I was there on the 19th, I think it was December. And we were up on this hill, the valley. And Germans came in American uniforms. We didn't know who they were, you know. So, finally we found out who they were. Big Dempsey got killed.
Let's go back.
Okay, that's all right, Al.
Yeah.
Oh, I worked for your mother at that time.
Oh,
Mackey, you haven't said.
No,
I know.
Maggie, it's your turn, Maggie.
What?
It's your turn.
Yeah.
Oh, Louis?
Yeah, say something.
Yeah, she's saying.
she's gonna say.
Well, I was born in December 1927, and
Tony, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
I enjoyed school. Marilyn and Marilyn Ryan, Mary Doss, they were all in our class. I remember we all stayed back. No, and Tom Murphy, we all stayed back 1 year. They said
Was
we were
that
too
all that
young.
was in your class, Matt?
No, those were particular ones that stayed back 1 year. I don't know, it was kindergarten, first grade, because they said we were too young to go forward at that time, that we'd be getting out too early or something. So they held us all back, but you may not find. I have a picture very in front of the school. We were in a play. Lou was in the play. I think it was
Columbus Day.
and Tom Briggs is on the steps. And I think at that time he wasn't in our class. I don't
No.
know whether he was
No,
a
Tom
janitor.
Briggs was much older.
Was he a janitor or something?
No,
No, he was in class.
just there?
He was probably in 8th grade. We were in about 6th grade when we had that.
Yeah,
That's
play.
right,
right.
because he was a year ahead of me, and
Oh,
that,
Yeah.
so that would make it at least 3 years.
Yeah. And I remember Mrs. Whitemeyer and
Tom Briggs is mostly my
Did
age.
you had Miss,
Yeah,
you had her as
that's
Miss Yaris?
Miss
and
Yaris.
I
and
had
Yeah.
Mrs. Landis.
Yeah,
was
right.
married
She
in-
left school after too, to have her
Yeah.
children, right.
And she was
I
pregnant
think
for
that's one of
Mary
your
Ann when
pictures.
I had her.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
She has
yeah.
a
That's one of your
picture.
pictures there.
I had her one
Oh,
year.
yeah, we have a graduation picture.
What picture
Not
is
many
this?
people.
That's Maggie, that's I guess that's your graduation picture, right?
Yeah, that was
Front of
over
the school?
Mrs. Weaver's backyard,
Right,
right by the
Mhm.
lilac tree.
right.
I knew it existed, and
I don't know what you
she had it. We made copies of it now.
But I remember being on the,
Yeah.
in whatever
Nothing.
kind of weather. We
Nothing
walk to
going
school no matter what.
Right.
Well,
Pull
you
out
have
our
to-
fingers when we get there.
You have to stand by Pierson's gate,
Yeah, well,
Right.
there's different,
Right.
different
that
places.
famous gate.
I have an
Yeah.
old picture of the school, I don't know if you want to see
Yeah,
it.
we have that.
You have that?
Yeah, we have that.
Oh, that
Oh,
is-
you have that,
In
okay.
fact, it's on the coverlet. They have a coverlet with the school, Mechanics Hall, and some other,
Oh, that's
um,
interesting. And that was, and then there's also a picture where they didn't have that closure over the porch, there was not a
Oh,
closure.
really?
Yeah, that was open before.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, that was
open.
open.
That was open, that's
Yeah,
right.
in the
They
beginning.
That's
closed-
right,
They
yeah.
closed that in
Right.
our time.
Yeah.
they have a coverlet or a throw that they have,
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, this
the
portion,
school
this
on,
portion was open.
other Stewart Farm, and,
Did
Mackey.
you want to get a picture of this, first, second grade people here? There's my brothers in there, Joey and myself, and the rest of Catherine, Tony's wife, and Betty are in there. And I'm pretty
Betty.
sure your sister's in there, but you couldn't pick.
Well, maybe if I look at it with a
Yeah.
Well, I
So
use
you
that
pick up
too,
features.
sometimes you can really,
I
those
think she was in my
features,
class
right.
today.
D'Onofrio.
I
Betty
think-
was?
Yeah,
because I stayed
D'Onofrio's
back
in
so
there,
many
Carmen
times.
D'Onofrio.
I'm pretty sure she was in my class in third grade, I think, I'm not sure.
Who was that?
Betty,
Oh, her sister, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, in your class? She's
I'm
young.
pretty sure, I stayed back so many times,
Oh,
mean,
now.
everybody caught up with me, Donald passed me, everything.
His mind was not schoolwork, he just couldn't learn English.
You wanna see that?
I saw that.
You seen it? Okay.
I saw it.
Hey, Kiki, about the football you're talking about.
Right?
Well, we played in England football.
Did you?
Oh, yeah, we played Screaming Eagles.
Did you play baseball too?
Part, not too much baseball. I played soccer. I got 4 or 5 stitches here from soccer. And football, the referees, the only one got hurt in England.
Did you hurt him out?
No, I didn't hurt him. But that clipped me. And then I did boxing, you know, and I broke my hand, you know, stuff like that.
Do you remember playing ball on Sundays, football?
Oh, I went with your brothers. Oh, football? No, we went baseball. I went with
Baseball, I
George and
remember
Sterling and
played football
his
behind
wife.
the school.
Yeah, that's what I was
Right.
gonna say.
We used
Yeah,
to go to
remember.
Englishtown and play
Thank you.
baseball.
Did you
That
see
was on
that?
a Sunday.
I have that.
I don't know about here.
Yeah, you played football too,
Football.
behind
Oh, yeah.
Behind
Oh,
Charlie the
right.
Barbers and that where the
Oh,
Csontos
yeah.
Yes,
school.
my father did not know they played, and he would not let Sterl play football in high
Yeah,
school.
right. Yeah, we played football.
Cause your cousin, I remember
Oh,
your
your
cousin.
John?
Yeah.
Playing with, he was all dressed up. I remember he had a white shirt on and he got in this football game that, well, Tony was playing.
I got broken nose there. I think Sterl's the one put some stuff in my nose there.
Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah.
Well, that was the recreation of the township.
Yeah.
That and Stouts Pond
Yeah.
and baseball.
Yeah.
Right. Was there anything, you were a trapper.
Yeah,
Yes,
I think
oh,
everybody
yes.
trapped.
You all trapped.
Tommy trapped,
Joe,
Joe trapped.
Joe was the
Joe
biggest
was
trapper.
Yeah, he
Joe.
was the biggest trapper. He had a long
I
stretch
think
of it.
Joe was the biggest trapper.
Yeah,
would
I
stretch-
had probably
He
10
would
traps.
stretch him up
Joe
on the,
probably had about 40 or 50
cardboard.
traps.
And
All
you-
through Gaines, all the way up.
Remember that
Now,
now?
what did you catch?
Skunk,
Muskrat.
possum,
Muskrat.
weasels, and muskrat.
Muskrat was
Fox.
the biggest thing.
No, we never
We
caught
caught
fox.
one fox.
We
In
did?
fact, it was your set. I remember.
You took it from me then.
I didn't know about that. No, I brought it home.
Oh, is that
It was a
right?
red fox. I had a
Yeah.
devil at the time
Okay.
killing it.
Yeah, I couldn't go to
You know?
school one morning because of a skunk.
I remember that little.
You remember?
I remember
Well, I
that.
didn't go to school because I walked up on, right in the woods, right by our house over here.
Well,
I walked up on it and didn't realize it, and there was the skunk. Wow, he was all over the place.
Well, you
And I
know,
couldn't go to school that
You
day.
were in
The air
8th
was-
grade, I was in
Oh,
7th.
Is that right?
I
Yeah,
think so.
probably. Yeah.
I think so.
the Ellis
Brown
used to do a
Rhino.
lot of
Yes, yes.
One day he went trapping. Well, then he come to school, but he put his boots in the hall. And stuff.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember Joey used to put them on, what do you call it?
Stretcher.
Cardboard to
Yeah,
stretch
yeah,
out.
stretcher.
Yeah.
Skin him and stretch
He
him
was
out and
really
let him dry.
artistic about that.
Turn them inside out and put them over
Yeah,
the board.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
The guy used to come and
Yeah.
pick him up.
He would
A
dry
guy from
them out.
Cranberry used to come pick him up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, did you hunt too?
No, well, one time I think. I never cared for hunting.
Did you fish?
Never cared
Anybody
for hunting.
fish? No fishing? Just
No.
trappers?
Fishing maybe a little bit, not much. I remember at Dean's Pond I caught a nice big trout. not trout.
So that
But I-
really was your recreation?
Yeah,
in
that's
town.
all we had.
Yeah.
That's all we had.
And you used to, they had to check their traps before they went to school, right?
Yeah.
Before
I
they
fell
went to
in the
school.
brook up in there. I mean, really in the brook. Boy, oh boy.
All the way up to the neck?
Oh, no, but my boots were full. I hurry up to the railroad tracks and took them off and hurry up home. I wasn't that far from home anyhow, right in the back there.
Well, when we came out, I think that by Von Tunes, that road was all dirt yet, wasn't it? Years, you know. It was all
Sounds
dirt.
right.
It was all
Sounds right
dirt.
from what the Von
Yeah.
Tunes have told
It
us.
was all dirt. I used to go there for milk then, on my bicycle. I get home with the milk, take it off, and
Oh, that
Which road were you talking about?
that road going through the school, by the school was dirt.
522?
Road, I think.
Yeah,
Von
right.
Tunes' house.
Right.
Past Von Tunes' farm.
Farm.
Oh, that was run all the way to the railroad track.
No,
From by his driveway.
That little lane it
Well,
was.
he's talking about the one that goes to Dayton.
That's right.
That's
Yeah.
522 now.
Okay,
Yeah.
522, but
Yeah.
dirt then, I didn't
Yeah,
get
dirt.
it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
being
I don't
dirt.
remember
remember
that.
it being
Yeah.
dirt.
Huh?
Used to be Monmouth Junction, Dayton Road, now
That's
it's,
right.
now it's Ridge Road,
Ridge
all the
Road.
way
Ridge
to
all the way
Brown's
through.
Corner, did you
Yeah.
know that?
Is that right?
Yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
they call
Yeah.
Ridge Road all the way to
All
Brown.
the way
Yeah.
to Brown's Corner.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk about what, in those days, most people were poor anyway.
Mhm.
But in
Right.
particular, my father, everything you can get, no matter where, he could pick everything. He found all the different kind of mushrooms. You know, and blueberry or huckleberries. We call them
Huckleberries,
huckleberries.
they're better too, aren't they?
Right,
Yeah.
nothing like them, right?
Right.
Asparagus, everything you picked along the road or wherever.
And they made
Blackberries
very good dandelion wine.
and dandelion
yeah,
wine,
yeah.
If you can
definitely.
find me some, let me know.
Right, and always had a garden, and I guess that's why everybody, all of us have gardens today.
Yeah.
We were the same.
Right, and I think that
Canned
most
and-
people canned everything.
Yeah.
Apples, you had the apples and pears, and so you had applesauce. In fact, I know we always had our
Applesauce
sandwiches that we went to school with.
Big
were
chunks of apples and
Yeah.
sandwiches.
The apples we got from Ventoons, and you only could pick the ones that
On
drops.
the ground.
The
Right.
drops, and he let us take any amount we wanted.
Yeah.
Bring them home, and we used to can them. That was, like she said,
Right, but we
that was
also,
our lunch.
We had a
Yeah.
big apple tree though, too.
that's
Yeah.
right, I was
Yeah.
gonna say in
Yeah,
Pierce.
Yellow
Yeah.
Delicious it was, I think.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
You had chickens.
Wasn't there a big pear tree down
Yeah,
there too
we
by
had
your
chickens
father's?
too.
We had chickens, rabbits.
Yeah, I remember the big pear tree there, yeah.
And a couple
Keep our
pigs every
pigs.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rabbits
And they were
also.
good.
So
Yeah.
that's, yeah, and that's
Everything
what
was
we
salted
did.
down for the whole winter. You had meat.
We all picked potatoes.
Everybody
right.
picked potatoes.
Everybody picked potatoes. You either worked on a railroad or the chemical plant.
That's
I think
right.
picked potatoes.
Where did you
farm.
pick potatoes?
I worked for Henry and Henry Von Thun and Jimmy Ship.
Yeah.
I didn't like Jimmy Ship's picking because his was too weedy.
Oh, man. Oh,
Henry Von Thun, they used to heat them out and they laid right on top.
Hey, Steve, how much you get for a basket or a bag? What you get?
Penny and a half.
Cent and a
One
half.
time. Penny and a half.
As low as a penny.
Basket was a penny and a
Yeah.
half, I think.
Basket.
Bag-
Later he went
bag
up
was
for
3 cents.
Actually a bag.
Then we
Yeah.
got all
Two
up to
baskets
10
in the whole bag.
cents.
2 baskets in the bag.
Yeah.
And they had
Yeah.
them full.
Yeah.
You
You had to
had to
heap
lift them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had to heap them.
But during Depression, we made more money than our fathers did on the railroad. Because we worked picking potatoes in the morning, and then after we came home and we had our supper, we went back and we graded them, and we put them in the bag, and we sewed the bags, and they loaded on the truck.
Well, by the Bennett's there, they used to have all the guys bought potatoes there, and they would
Plate.
Yeah, plate.
Benny
Yeah.
plate, yeah.
Benny plate.
Yeah.
My brothers worked there,
They
and
used
they
to-
used to pick potatoes on the Morrissey farm. Now, do you know where that is?
Was that back there?
You know where we live?
Yeah, back
Yeah.
It was on the corner,
Where they're-
diagonal to our house,
Okay.
the old
Oh.
Morrissey farm.
Oh, okay.
And now the development's going in there, and my dad used to huckleberry in that
Oh, yeah,
swamp,
well, all
and
everybody
nobody
huckleberried
else
back there.
Yeah.
in the family could go but him.
Oh, yeah?
That's how dangerous it was.
Oh, sure.
Oh, we
Sure.
Well, there was known to be quicksand.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. There
That's
was
what they
spots.
always say, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
we followed the same path all the time going in. We knew where to go in.
Right, right.
All the same path all the time.
And he'd go Turkey Island.
That-
The other way.
Oh, down further. Yeah.
Tony should talk about the CC camp.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tony,
Tony.
tell me about
CC camp.
CC camps.
What about?
What did you say?
What about, you were there, what was
I
the
was
line,
in.
tell them what you did.
How old were you when
Well,
you
you're
first got there?
15.
I quit school because I couldn't get no work. So me and Jaime Andy, remember he was a principal, wasn't he?
For a while, yeah.
Yeah, and he quit, and then we went, signed up in Milltown. We hitchhiked, we walked all the way, because there was not too many cars around at that time, and we walked back also. And I was stayed for about a year in the, I 2 hitches, 6 months at a time. I stayed. My brother Sal, he was in there already. He was
New York State.
Yeah, he was up in Harrisburg. I went to
Haverstraw,
Seattle.
wasn't it? Haverstraw?
Belfair, Washington.
Now, that was kind of during the Depression.
Yeah, that was the
Third
Depression.
grade.
Yeah, that's when my brothers left school, too.
Mhm. Right, and then you went to see it. Now
And
he
we
went
went
back
back,
to his
we
roots
went-
over there at TC Camp. He went
We
to
went
see
back,
it.
back
found-
there and
You
we
have to
seen
tell me
it.
that.
Yeah.
Bulletin board, our group picture was still on in there. Somebody put it in
And
there.
And this was just recent.
And that was where now? Where's that located?
Belfair, Washington.
Welfare, Washington.
Was that 3 years ago he went?
2 years.
2 years.
2 years.
2 years now.
Well, what would they come to the town and recruit you, or?
No, we
apply?
signed up. We just
Uh-huh.
signed up. Me and Jaime signed up. And we
You
walked
went to Milltown, you
Milltown
said.
to sign up. Don't tell me where in Milltown because I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I know we hitchhiked up and hitchhiked back. And then we got his sister. I think I stayed that night over his sister's house. And then she brought us to the Camp Dix, I think, at the time, if I remember right.
Well, you had a good reputation in the operating engineers, Tony.
Yeah,
My husband worked on jobs where Tony was.
I just got my 40. I was before. It took me 12 years to get the book. After the book, I was 40 years, and I just had a dinner testimony down in Whipton. I didn't go, but they sent me a lifetime membership for $8.25, and I got a pin also, gold, the lifetime membership.
So you kind of get a little annoyed at the way
Oh yeah.
construction's done around here, and all about drainage, and you can understand it, right?
Yes.
Why my husband is furious.
Yeah.
Because you people did a good job, but they don't want to listen to you, those kind of people.
Yeah.
But you had a good reputation, John.
And then you have to also say that we had, all the boys went to the service.
Right.
Here, you can put
Very
this on there.
fortunate to all return.
And that article was written by Mrs. Emens.
Right.
Never seen it.
You never
Probably
seen
read
it?
it.
Yeah, you probably,
Probably remember the paper.
And they touched every service except the Air Force, right?
yeah. Well, at the time, the Air Force was with the Army.
Oh,
So your mom and dad had how many in at once?
8, at once 6.
And
6,
then
and
didn't-
then 2 for Korean War.
And then didn't Roosevelt pass something that there couldn't be more than
Well, that was
certain-
during World War II.
No, that was,
Yeah, because of the
you couldn't be on
On
one,
the ship.
That was a
the
Sullivan.
whole
On the
family
same
couldn't be
Sullivan.
together
After
on
the
one
ship,
ship.
right.
Yeah, Sullivans went
They
down
couldn't
together,
be,
5
they
of
couldn't
them.
be located together. You could have 10 in the
In
service.
service,
Yeah.
but they
as long
couldn't be
as
in the
they
same
were
outfit.
In
In a
different
different
outfits.
place.
Because this one ship had
The-
5
The
six
Sullivan
families
brothers,
that-
Sullivan
they all went
Sullivan
down
brothers,
They
together.
all
Six of
went
them.
down with it.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. That's when they passed the law.
Lou Spriggs told us that he lost a brother, and he was on the ship going over, and they called him off because if you lost a,
I think he lost a second brother at that time, and that's when they called him.
right, the
Yeah.
second brother, and then they passed the law.
That kick through that, she's never seen it.
So, Don, I remember Don and Sal. They were part of the Frederick H. Levy
Oh, yeah.
disaster, where my brothers were.
That was a disaster, believe me.
Tom was there.
Makes you
Tom.
wonder about Whispering Woods
Right.
and that area. And on the other side of the railroad, the, what is it, pond back there?
Nordo?
The new development after
Oh,
Fresh
yeah.
Impressions.
Junction Pond?
Junction
Oh,
Pond.
Junction Pond.
And Frankie's not, Frankie's in,
Kentucky.
Kentucky now.
Kentucky. He lives in Kentucky now.
He's in
Hopefully, he's trying to get back home now.
and Ida.
And
Ida's in North Carolina. Yeah.
Did I miss anyone?
Huh?
Did I miss anyone?
No.
No.
No, Joe's
Joe
dead.
and Don.
And Don
Joe.
and Sal, they died. And that's it.
And Ida lived in, Ida and Bob bought the house that